come and save this poor man. What did he end up doing that? All the women in the world wanted to marry him. He ran away frantically, but the road was closed. He ran in the other direction, but there was another group of women. They were crazy. With no other choice, he had to climb the stairs. He lowered his head to look. Below are all the brides who were wearing white dresses. All roads were blocked. After all, what had happened that he had to endure the suffering of such a young age? This guy is an orphan. He and his grandfather depended on each other from an early age. He felt that a man must be like a horse, so he can jump around everywhere, so he shouldn't be tied to restrain his life. This was also his principle of being a man. 30 years have passed. He has changed his girlfriend like a shirt. Tall, short, skinny, fat, whatever. But he never thought about getting married until that day. His best friend was married. He was very upset, went to the pub alone to relax. The blue shirt girl greeted him. He looked back. It's a feeling of vibration. It wasn't long before they fell in love. Their love was also better than ever. That day, he brought his girlfriend to your wedding. Very fun atmosphere. The host went up on stage, told all the single girls to come on stage. The flower show was about to begin. Turned out there is a custom here. When each person gets married, they will throw wedding flowers to the girls who are still single. Whoever catches it, that person will be the next person to get married, with the meaning of transmitting happiness to others. All the men were so nervous that they broke into a sweat. The bald man looks at the bouquet of flowers being tossed. No, the one who caught the flower was his girlfriend. The others breathed a sigh of relief. In his mind, he started thinking about the bald man's life after marriage. A few days later, the wedding was held. This means that the wedding flower toss show was about to begin again. He looked worried. He couldn't have imagined that the bouquet had just fallen into his girlfriend's hand. Life is over. Grandfather comforted him. Wild horses will be tamed one day, and expressed sympathy for his grandson. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Then he gave him a box of rings, telling him to immediately propose. He had no choice but to do so. In the evening, he took his girlfriend to the best restaurant in town. There are also a lot of people praying here. In his heart, he was extremely worried, but he still proposed. After he finished eating, his girlfriend asked him if he was sincere. He was about to answer, when suddenly the sound of fleeing came to his mind. He froze. His hesitant appearance caused his girlfriend to leave angrily, and became the first man to confess to failure in town. He was ridiculed by the people around him. His grandfather, after knowing this news, was so shocked that he passed away when he was in great pain. A lawyer came to find him. Turns out his grandpa is a billionaire. He left a fortune of tens of billions of dollars to him. What an experience it is to receive tens of billions of dollars in assets. Colleagues did not expect his grandfather to be a billionaire. The property in the town was almost entirely owned by his grandfather. Before leaving, his grandfather made an estate. He was the only heir to his property before he had time to be happy. The lawyer continued, but his grandpa has one condition. Before the age of 30, he must get married, and within 5 years must have a baby. Otherwise, all his assets will go to charity. Made a person who does not want to be tied down by marriage like him was in no way acceptable. Besides, he has 2 more days to go before he turns 30. Can't even do it in time. But if he can't fulfill his will, the property in the town will be sold. Everyone would be unemployed. His lawyer and friend both worry for him. The best friend even invited a priest to preside over his wedding, even rented a luxury car for him to propose. He rehearsed for a long time before he dared to knock on the door. But unexpectedly, the person who opened the door was the girl's best friend. The girl's best friend told him she has an urgent mission, dad, to go to work. Now she has arrived at the airport. They immediately rushed to the airport. Luckily, they finally arrived. He immediately called out his girlfriend's name, directly knelt down to propose to her. His girlfriend complimented him on his progress this time, but when she asked him was it sincere, in his head came the sound of running away. He hesitated again. Angry girlfriend left and wanted to break up with him. Seeing the plane fly away, he felt helpless in his heart. This has made everyone worried already. His best friend suddenly came up with a way. If his current girlfriend can't, he'd go to find his ex-girlfriend. So he took him away. The first was the stockbroker, but she heard that the stock exchange was open. She basically didn't have time to listen to him. She was extremely agitated. He put his hand over her mouth. He could say all that needed to be said, but was replied back by this way. The second one was a musical actor. It's not easy for him to wait for her, but she said she doesn't remember who he is. Okay, it's too embarrassing. He went to find his college girlfriend again. No wonder she is also celibate. Before he left, she mocked him. Then he got up and left. He hit a dead end again. After some negotiation, they decided to give it one last try. They prepared a marriage proposal to the female FBI policewoman. At that time, a prisoner escaped. The girlfriend only needed 2 moves to defeat the criminal. After this terror, she turned around and asked what he'd just said. He thought for a moment. The weather is not bad today. Everything made him very uncomfortable. He arrived at the synagogue, slowly falling asleep. His best friend then thought of a way he would publish his friend's story in the newspaper. Is this a good way? They prepared an article. The next day, his story was published in the newspaper. Information about a man with tens of billions of dollars was spread everywhere. There is a book in front of every girl's house. The car repair girl read this news, threw all her tools and ran away. The girl who was going to date also got up and left quietly. The waiter read it and took off his service clothes. Then he disappeared. What do girls want to do? Get married? Of course. Not long after, on the road, on the bus, everywhere there was a bride wearing a wedding dress. They went to the synagogue in droves. When he woke up vaguely, he was completely stunned. In that room were all the brides in white dresses. They all want to marry him. In this majestic, magnificent scene, his eyes could not see at all. At that moment, his best friend received a phone call from his girlfriend. Turns out she still loved him, wanted to go back to find him. The best friend immediately ran to the synagogue to stop him. He said this was a play, telling them to get out of here quickly. He didn't know what was going on, but the brides disagreed. Money or not doesn't matter. Now they want to marry him. The more he talked, the more excited they become. They even pushed each other. The boy was so scared that he had to run away. He angrily pulled the fat man against the wall and asked him why he was against him. The best friend told him the reason. Turns out, the girl has not forgotten him either. After hearing this news, he immediately prepared to go find her. But before he could take a few steps, the brides surrounded him. Suddenly it felt like something was not right. The boy turned his head to look. Oh my god. He immediately ran away frantically. But everywhere there was a bride. More and more people were chasing him. I have never seen so many women before. Luckily he was able to jump into a car. He went to the train station to find the girl. This time, he confessed his feelings to her, then said all the most sincere things. How can such a man be so infatuated? The girl was moved by the boy's words, and the tears didn't stop falling. She agreed to marry him for being on time. I don't know where they found the dress to change into, but when they got to the door, she was amazed. There were thousands of brides running towards them. It turned out that they had seen the man. The girls all wanted to marry him. The girls were surrounded everywhere. The young man had no way to run, so he had to climb the stairs. He looked everywhere and couldn't find his girlfriend's whereabouts, because below are all the brides wearing white dresses. How can he see? Fortunately, the lawyer helped the girlfriend up. The police also brought the vicar. Just like that, the parish priest used loudspeakers. Surrounded by everyone, the wedding ceremony was held. The brides, seeing that, did not riot. The girl told everyone their story and gave them her sincerest apologies. Everyone fell silent. They then clapped together and congratulated the two of them in the end and threw the flowers to spread her happiness to others.